So déjà vu is this familiar feeling. And I would go into my closet. I remember this one specifically. And I had this gray skirt, and I lifted it up in a shirt. And then I had this sudden wave come over me that I had been in that exact same situation before. And it was an awful feeling, like, here's the skirt, here's the shirt. I looked down at my flats, but feelings eventually went away. But jamais vu was the opposite. And that one was more scary for me because it's the opposite. You have this unfamiliar feeling of where you are. So think of where you are right now, maybe in front of your computer, and the side vision starts to blur a little bit. And then maybe the picture on your desk or the wall. You notice the people in the photo, but you have no idea where is that taking place. Like, what am I wearing? What's going on? And then maybe the coffee mug next to you. You look at it. Where did this come from? Have I always had this mug? Well, now imagining that happening outside in an unfamiliar place. And that happened to me on my favorite running trail in Eugene. It was a beautiful trail, weaved through the entire city, and it was right across the street from my house. And it was rainy season in Oregon, and you start to get used to the rain because it's so beautiful. It paints like this canopy of green over the running trails. My mom brought my twin brothers. It was their first time, and she wanted to bring them to the winery, the same winery that I had visited with them prior. The problem is I didn't remember the name of the winery or the location. I didn't remember I had ever been there at all. My mom told me, she said, you didn't know that you didn't know. I didn't know that I'd ever visited the winery to begin with. So she caught me, and my brothers were there to lay witness. And so what do? I couldn't stay silent because that would be admitting that something was wrong. So I just brushed it off. Wasn't a big deal. But those moments continue to happen. I'm a realistic person, and thought to myself, I can't take the chance of not going through surgery and having to wake up again multiple times and not remember what kind of conversation I had with my sister over the phone. And I said, Stacia, don't give up on yourself, okay? You can put aside risks, but you can't keep going back and forth and having seizures and think something is gonna happen, because it's not. I'd gone through 4 medications at that point. Things weren't gonna change. Hey, I should do a documentary on this whole experience to educate people so they can better understand all the things people with epilepsy go through. So with that, all set, bought camera gear, got going. And a couple months, when was it? It was a little bit later that year. It was 5 a.m., surgery morning, okay? And I was excited. My dad was like, you were calm and collected in the hotel room, like nothing was gonna happen. And my mom said, she was like, yeah, you were like chatty with the nurses and excited and talking in pre-op. And I just assumed my mom would be just as excited as me. So I bring out my video camera. I'm like, Mom, it's the morning of surgery. How do you feel? And I zoomed in, and that was the first time I could see with the lens the toll that epilepsy can take on a mom.